Hey everyone, I wanted to bring you an update from Onida, South Dakota here. It is in the afternoon, and as you can see, we are not harvesting. That's been fairly typical the entire time that we've been here. Many of you have been following along and you have read or watched the major rain events, hail events, just the wet weather and cool temperatures in general that we've been experiencing, and they continue to persist. This is a fairly typical day for us. We are not able to harvest in the morning. It always extends into the afternoon before we can begin. We are experiencing still over 80% humidity today. Cloudy skies like you see behind me are pretty typical. There's very little sun that we see almost every single day. Most days continue to be fairly overcast. You can see my shirt blowing around, and it definitely is breezy today, which is very helpful for us, but it's coming from the south, bringing up some of that humidity, so it's a double-edged sword. But most days have not been this windy at all, so it just makes for very damp mornings. We get so cool at night, many nights are into the 50s, that it sets a heavy dew. Those heavy dews are almost like a light rain shower, and then we have such poor weather in the morning, it doesn't dry off until the afternoon. So that means we get in half days, and they're really hardly even half days. A lot of times the moisture comes up from this wet ground that's still there from all of the rain, makes the straw really tough as it wicks up that moisture from the wet ground, and the machines are shut down even before the sun goes down. So basically we've been here for a month, and we have done about 1 week's worth of work that we typically would have anticipated. That's setting a record. We have never been in a spot for more than 1 month, and that's going to happen in South Dakota this year. It's also going to extend into September. We've also never harvested wheat in September in South Dakota. A lot of times, in fact, we're done with North Dakota, and maybe we're even home with harvest completed at this time, but that's not the way it's going to be this year. We have decided to stay here in South Dakota. We are not going to North Dakota this year. Many of the harvest crews that have been here have pulled out. They have made arrangements with their farmers and have moved into North Dakota. That's harvest is getting underway there. In fact, a lot of northern South Dakota still has barely even begun their harvest. It's just amazingly delayed. So it's been really disheartening. There are tens of thousands of acres that are left in this area to go, but we're going to stick it out here for the long haul and finish things up, and we don't know exactly how long that will be. The weather shows that we are eventually going to have highs in the 60s and lows in the 40s in just a couple of days, so it's going to make for very slow progress. We're also still really fighting moisture in the ground. There's a lot of areas where there is mud standing in the fields. We're not able to harvest all the areas. We have to go around mud holes or areas of the field that have standing water in them. We're simply having to cut around and leave behind, so it makes it extra challenging for the combine operators. We're also having difficulties having the trucks access the field. These fields are really large here, so the trucks oftentimes have to drive back in through the fields on small paths, a mile, maybe even more, to access the combines. There's a lot of standing water in the dips and low spots there, so we can't even bring the trucks always in every place. That's not very helpful either, and it really just slows down our daily progress, which is already pretty limited because of the weather. So it's an update a little bit about what's going on here. I thought I'd maybe just show you a handful of other kind of miscellaneous things since I've got some time. So why don't you come with me here, and we'll walk around the machine. I'll show you the wheat just a little bit, and we'll talk about a few other things together.